I welcome you to my home. Do come in, have a seat. I have something here to relax you. I think you'll find it quite a treat. If you find me sounding insane, it's just the absence talking. It's just the
The memes.
And it started already.
Doge is a hustle.
Oh my God. Well, welcome to a very special episode of It At. I'm here with a friend of mine, Eli Burton, whom you'll recall from my Tesla adventure and many other ventures. So this is definitely an It At because we're both probably pretty lit by this point. We have watched Elon Musk's Saturday Night Live special. Every time that they mentioned anything marijuana related or any Dogecoin or any cryptocurrency related thing, we were making that our own kind of drinking game. So that was fun. But we're here to discuss a little bit about the news items over this past couple of weeks. And SpaceX has been in the news, obviously, a lot of great reasons. They've brought back their Crew 1 mission. That was fantastic. Great splashdown there. Winning the contract for doing the lunar lander mission. And then just recently, the successful landing of SN-15, which was fantastic. But the funny thing to both of us was that they lost the contract. Oh no! That we've got these people complaining that Tesla has not played by the rules, or NASA has changed the goalposts, and that they shouldn't have gotten the contract. And oh, this is terrible. Terrible news. I mean, what is SpaceX going to do?
I gotta say, my friend, you made a Freudian slip because it would be very weird if Tesla got the contract.
Oh, that's that.
SpaceX.
Oh, you're right. SpaceX. Sorry. That's the absinthe talking. That is the fact. Well, I mean, how cool would that be? You know, Tesla. Yes, so we're going to award it. So you're going to drive there.
You know what the best part would be? Tesla could probably, from the ground up, build a lunar rocket faster
than Blue Origin could.
And that's not just the absence talking.
Oh, that's not a joke either. So what struck me as funny about the whole thing is that NASA would say, "Oh, SpaceX, stop! Don't do any more progress on your contract." Show of hands, does anybody think that they're going to stop? That's just not in their corporate culture. I mean, going all the way back to 2008, Eli and I were talking earlier about in 2008 when Tesla realized that Mercedes was going to come to pay them a visit to see what their operation was all about because they were curious. Right? Well, what does Tesla want to do? Well, Tesla wants to help Mercedes-Benz. They want to be able to make something that Mercedes might need. Well, how about powering their smart car? Well, they don't sell the freaking little smart car in the U.S., or didn't at the time. And so the only way to get one was down in Mexico. So they went and got, I think, 2 of them. And they equipped them with the batteries that they were developing and the battery management system from the Tesla Roadster. Mercedes shows up, sees this, and sees that there's that forward thinking, there's that momentum that's going on. They're not stopping. And that is why you have a Tesla steering wheel and Tesla shift gear in your Model S, because that started this collaboration between Tesla and Mercedes. Fast forward, you see a very similar thing going on with the acquisitions that they have. They acquired ATW, which was subsidiary of ATS, and ATW made the batteries for BMWs with the i3. Is that what the little they're called? And so what I'm trying to educate folks on is how these corporate structures work as far as the agreements go, not just the intellectual property and the full-on contracts, but these non-disclosure agreements that they have, to do this and that. Well, Tesla understood that ATW owned this property to be able to know what the architecture looked like for the i3 battery. So they buy them. Why? To save this little company, to save all these jobs? No, they could have absorbed that into Giga Berlin easily, no problem. No, they wanted the structure of that freaking battery. And so then they can go to BMW and go, oh yeah, hey, by the way, we just developed these tabless batteries, and now we're going to go ahead and offer you this battery pack at about, maybe a third less than what you were paying for it from ATS, and the thing will last 20 years. All of that kind of forward thinking. So then NASA, that was just what was hilarious to me, was that NASA thought that they were going to stop after what they told SpaceX 3 years ago or so. Who was the NASA director at the time when?
Brittenstein.
When Elon put his dusty footprint right on his forehead and said, oh yeah, by the way, we don't really care that you've snubbed us for this lander contract.
When my favorite part between Elon and Brittenstein was when Elon did this special event at back down in Brownsville at the Starship headquarters. And he just did this event, just unveiling the Starship prototype for the first time under the stars. It was beautiful. And it was just to be like an exciting event about the future. And Brittenstein used that as a moment to grandstand. And he said, you know what, the Starship's great, but you've been promising to taxpayers for long enough that you would deliver Crew Dragon. Enough is enough. And then Elon got interviewed after the event and said, Brittenstein said, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And Elon's joke back was, oh, wait, is he talking about the SLS? We talk about years late and billions of dollars over budget. And by the way, it was total grandstanding because it was like 3 months after that SpaceX did the Crew DM, and they've now flown like 3 crewed missions since then. It was all just like political garbage. But this guy used that to swing at Elon. Elon was like, oh yeah, you want to talk about SLS?
Unbelievable. And again, it's that whole corporate attitude of we're not waiting.
It was funny because like SpaceX has been 10 SNs into Starship before they even won the NASA contract to use Starship for the lunar lander. They're developing the Starship anyway.
Yep.
The Starship is inevitable.
Yep.
The Starship is going to the moon.
We're going to the moon anyway.
With a nation sponsorship or not.
Yep. Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. So that's basically the takeaway here. And again, that's back to that corporate culture of we're not waiting. This is it's immaterial whether or not we have or don't have this contract. This means that we can do things faster, but it doesn't really affect whether or not we're. And so again, that's the folks enjoy seeing this, right, where we peer into the future. And so when I'm looking in here, I don't see SLS. I don't even see Artemis. All I see is SpaceX.
I see NASA astronauts under the code name Artemis going to the moon on a SpaceX rocket. And that's literally the contract that SpaceX won for $2.9 billion is they're going to use Starship as a lunar lander for Artemis.
Yep.
Which, by the way, they're going to title like the NASA thing. It's going to be Artemis astronauts.
I think you're going to keep the Artemis thing, or
they're going to keep the Artemis astronauts, which is great. They're going to be delivered to the moon from Earth, leaving Earth to orbit to the moon to landing on the moon, all via SpaceX. SpaceX is going to be the vehicle to deliver NASA Artemis astronauts. That's a perfect public-private partnership at the finest definition. And it's not just a lander; it's an entire reusable orbital rocket that can bring crew and 100 tons of payload.
I have no argument to any of that. Again,
In fact, I think NASA realized that if you can't beat him, you got to join him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like I think a not insignificant part about why SpaceX got this contract was that it's very clear that even without the contract, SpaceX is going to do it anyway.
Yep.
Even without the lunar lander contract, the worst part that could happen is NASA gives the contract to somebody else and SpaceX beats them to the moon. You can't have that.
Yeah. No.
You delegitimize that entire agency.
Yep.
You have to work with the leader.
Yep.
That's a win-win. You want to work with the leader.
Yep.
It's a great thing that they looked at the times and said, hey, these guys are really going to do it. Guess what? You know the only person on the planet who we've certified to take our crew to space? Oh, wait, that's SpaceX. Mm-hmm. Boeing had a shot. They blew it. They're a year and a half behind. Who knows if they'll ever get certified? My bet is they won't.
But they had a software failure.
Blue Origin is currently still testing for suborbital to do their first DM flight. They don't even have an orbital rocket. Our other bidders for the moon lander just want to build a little tiny Apollo replica, and SpaceX is like, yeah, we're going to bring a whole Starship, the whole spaceship there. It's obvious. Like, these guys aren't stupid. None of these people involved want to be on the wrong side of history. You want to choose a guy who's winning, and it's Elon Musk. I don't even need a crystal ball for that.
No.
A lot of these episodes we're peering, like we talked about a while ago about crypto, which I feel like this would be an interesting thing to bring back because where crypto is now versus when we last talked about it.
Yeah.
It's like,
well,
it's
I don't know. It's kind of in the same place, right? So remind folks about that. We'll check on something real quick here.
Yeah, certainly.
This is one of those things where I'm trying to make sure I'm not being stupid to what I just looked on because, again, we're lit. What I just made sure of was that we actually had audio. Oh my God. So at any rate, I think that we are both basically the same place we were before as far as the crypto goes. Because, so you can do all you can to try and lend some legitimacy to it, but it really isn't anything more than people betting on it, right?
There are some cryptos that are bets, like Dogecoin, the highlight of tonight's SNL event.
Right. Which was funny as hell for anybody who hasn't seen it. Definitely find it.
And the reason why I say that one is a pure bet is it doesn't solve any actual real world problem. It is just a bunch of people bought it and a bunch of other people bought it. There is no development going off of it.
Well, in that way, it's not all that different from the modern stock exchange. But
okay. Are you legitimizing one or trying to delegitimize the other?
Yes.
Right. So there are cryptos though that do have legitimate businesses and solutions being built on them.
Yeah.
Dogecoin is not one of them.
No. But even Bitcoin, the issue there is redemption, right? And so if you can go ahead and show me, again, I'm a numbers guy. If you can show me a redemption value to the thing, then we can have that conversation. But for me, basically, I understand the value of Bitcoin as being the mining of spaces to put it.
Since we last talked, the thing that has most significantly changed in the crypto space is you've heard about the breakout of NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
Okay.
That has really been the breakout of Ethereum. Every non-fungible token takes place on the Ethereum network.
Okay.
So any buying, selling, transacting, storing, or trading of a non-fungible token is all happening on Ethereum.
Okay.
The reason that is the case is Ethereum is really a backbone. So like Ethereum actually has a real chance to be Internet 3.0, and by which that I mean what in the crypto world of blockchain, Ethereum was always designed to be the infrastructure.
Okay.
It was never designed to be something other than what everybody else rides upon.
Okay.
And in this recent breakout of NFTs, the only currency you can buy an NFT in is Ethereum.
Okay.
The reason is it was the only cryptocurrency that was built as a platform that people could dev on top of.
Okay.
So it's like they've almost built like a blockchain tech infrastructure that anybody can ride on top of.
Okay.
So Ethereum is probably, since we last talked, all the others have just gained in value, but nothing has changed in fundamentals. Ethereum has been much more adopted by actual technology companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you who've just had their eyes glaze over to this whole thing, let me try and explain that to the best of my ability, and you can stop me if I'm wrong on this. So what gives Bitcoin its value? When you hear about people saying, "Oh, we're mining for Bitcoin," actually, what they're doing is that they're mining for places to put it. What they're doing is that they're mining for unique bit chains, unique blockchains that they can then put a Bitcoin. Right? Unless you have a designated place to put it, it is worth it. It's worthless. It's the same thing as if you were trying to put money in a Swiss bank account that had no number. You have to have a number. And so then what Bitcoin mining is that they are creating that number for you to put your money in. Correct? So
it sounds simple, but it's actually incredibly processor intensive.
I'm not trying to downgrade that.
And the crazy part is you have to find the number.
Correct.
Unlike a bank account where you have a number,
correct.
In the blockchain network, you have to find it.
So that's
it's not predetermined.
So that's the part that the folks out there maybe not. They're not. Well, why does this have a value? And so that's the value in it is that these blockchains are unique. But unless you have one, you have no place to put any Bitcoin. And so
then probably the other part is once one gets discovered, the existence of that address gets passed through the broader distributed network.
It's gone.
And then the network validates it.
Right.
And then once whatever is in there, the entire network has agreed that yes, there is one Bitcoin.
Correct.
And that's what makes the fact that somebody else can't claim they have that Bitcoin because the whole network and its decentralized modus operandi said that that's a Bitcoin and this person owns it.
Right. And so for those who were confused about the whole Bitcoin mining thing, that's what that is, and that's what gives it its value. But again, it's this weird kind of a value that one would apply to a house in whatever virtual world you happen to be in, whether it's EverQuest or Second Life or
and that's a great example though, because those had real value because people paid real money for them.
Put into them.
I'll say, especially Second Life, people spent thousands and thousands
on
of
characters.
Dollars. Again, my daughter, when she gets money for her allowance, guess what she wants to spend it on?
Sure.
Fortnite skins.
Okay, all right.
Non-physical goods.
Bizarre. It's an interesting economy.
They have tremendous value to her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
She doesn't want toys. I asked her, what do you want for birthday? She's like, I don't want any toys. Nothing. She doesn't want anything physical.
Interesting.
She wants to spend money on Roblox and Fortnite.
Well, it's social. It's one of those things where this is the new social.
Yes.
When Eli and I were growing up, it was you're riding your bicycles to your friend's house,
or you had the Jordans or whatever the shoes. Whatever those physical things were.
Sure.
Now they're digital things.
Sure. So.
And basically what's happened with NFTs is this is the adult version of those Fortnite skins. Mm-hmm. It's that. It sounds dumb as hell, but it's that.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? Yeah. We pay money for the things that we find value in as human beings.
Yep. And now we're going through this weird transition where people are starting to put a lot of value on things that do not even exist physically at all.
Right.
Only exist digitally.
Right.
And that sounds insane, but when you think about how much of our time we spend in the digital universe, if you work, you spend more of it aside from retail or food service or a handful of other things. If you work in a technical company and you work in a lot of different realms, like what I did is product development, all this stuff, most of my interactions I do work all digital. So when you think about how much they care about their Facebook, their Instagram, think about all these things that are minutes and minutes and hours of digital time. It actually makes sense that digital is becoming valuable, but it just feels fake because it's not real. But it's the same thing as celebrity. What is celebrity? It only exists in the minds of
classic cars, right? They're not great cars. The Lamborghini Countach.
A whole bunch of people all agree that they're great.
But the Lamborghini Countach at no point was a good car.
My Tesla Model S can crush it, right?
But yet you park that thing on the street. And everybody you're stopping traffic. Police are telling you to move it.
Because everybody has an opinion about this thing. They know about this thing. And the fact that people know about it gives it value.
Yep. Yeah.
And guess what? The fact that people know about something that exists digitally, that also gives it value.
Yep. Well, I agree.
Seems stupendous as hell, but as Elon said tonight, maybe we're in a simulation and a simulation.
Yeah.
Who's there? Or we live in the Men in Black universe.
He did rock that episode. For those of you who haven't seen it, definitely try and pick it up on YouTube or wherever you can find it on.
There's a lot of meta to it too. It was really
yeah. He did a great job. So at any rate, thank you very much for participating in this episode of It At. And thank all of you for joining us. Again, we don't see the SLS in any form. We just see it replaced by something that costs. They're saying a half, but I'm thinking it's probably close to a third of the cost once you factor in all the other agencies.
The SLS is going to cost more for the first launch than the Starship lunar lander will for the entire development.
Yep.
I'm talking not development cost of SLS.
Yep.
One launch of SLS will cost more than Starship lander's entire development.
Yep. Agreed. Well, thanks for joining us, and we will see you again very soon.